There's one video that I keep getting people requesting me to make, which is how to use Repr to create Redbubble products. So Repr, for those of you who don't know, is a really, really cool seamless pattern app that creates, well, patterns. And those patterns can be insanely complex patterns made from the dumbest or the most basic source image, and the results that you get from them are truly amazing. I do know that people who see Repr for the first time are like, whoa. So in this video, I'm going to show you 2 ways to use Repr to create your print-on-demand products for Redbubble. But before I do that, I need to get 2 things out of the way. The first one is, hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mero and I teach creative people how to sell their art online. And the second thing I need to get out of the way is, what is Repr? For those of you who don't know, again, it's a really cool web app to design patterns. It works in a very simple way. You have a source image that you upload. You can also choose from their source images. That source image can be an image that you generated with an AI, something that you draw, or even literally white blank with squares in it in different colors. And from that source image, the app is, I'm going to geek out on that because it's so mathematical and I love it. The app allows you to select a part of that source image and tile it in so many different ways. It also has cool things like a metamorphosis effect and changing colors, and it's a really, really cool app to use. This app also has an extremely large exporting option, so you can actually export images that are really, really big to cover items fully. For example, like a duvet cover, a puzzle, or a shower curtain over on Redbubble. But also you can export a tile, like a single tile, and use the innate Redbubble tiling option to create your product over on Redbubble, thus having a much smaller file size, and thus it weighs less. The whole process takes less time. In about a minute or two, I'm going to take you over to my screen and I'm going to show you some source images that I can use and how to tile them. And I'm also going to use both of the options, the one of uploading the tile onto Redbubble and creating the products from that, but also creating a pattern that is going to be looking good as wall art, creating one file for all of the items that I want to do, that I don't need to tile that because it's pretty big, as well as adjusting it to the size that fits the postcards and the greeting cards in case you want to sell those, because if you don't and it's just a square, then it's just going to look like an ugly square in the middle of the postcard, and yeah, no one likes that. And just before we head on over to the screen, I would like to let you know that if you look at the description of this video, you will find that there is a link and a coupon code to get 25% off of Repr for your first billing. So if you get Repr for a year, it's 25% off. With that being said, let's head on over to my screen and have fun using Repr designing products for Redbubble. And we're on my screen. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm at repr.app and I'm going to start up the app. You can see my previous collections loading up right now with different things that I've done either for tutorials or for some of my own projects. And for those of you who don't know what Repr does, let me just give you a quick look into how it looks. You basically have a source image, and as you move a marker, a selection around that source image, it tiles it based on the tiling effect, which is facade here. Let me change it to Persian star, and you'll see how this entire image just changes into totally different colors. So as I mentioned, I'm going to do 2 things when it comes to uploading to Redbubble, 2 ways to upload to Redbubble when it comes to the export file, and I'm also going to use 2 different image sources. I am going to go to all collections and start a new collection. This one is called Redbubble Video because it is for the Redbubble Video, but I really recommend working with collections based on what you want to do. For example, create a certain floral collection or create a geometric collection or a black and white one. And what we're going to do now is start with the first method of exporting to design for Redbubble, and with one of the techniques I use to create source images. Here at Canva, I'm creating custom size of 5,000 by 5,000 pixels. For the majority of what I do, you do not need to have Canva Pro. I'm going to go to Elements, and I'm going to think about something that I want to search. Let's search for even shape. And we can do all of that even with free sources. Although having a source that is pro is not actually going to use the source as is. It's going to modify it a lot. So I'm going to go into graphics here. There are some interesting shapes here, and I'm going to think about what kind of color palette I want. Let me just dump a bunch of shapes that I like. Okay. And one thing that I like to do when it comes to color palettes is I go to design and I look at some of the designs that are there by default just to get inspired from them in terms of the colors that they're using in the design. So it will be much easier for me to think about my own color palette for something else. Like, for example, this uses a lot of colors. A lot of colors are being used in this one. Let's copy paste it, just create a different one and scroll through ideas. I also like this as a color palette, maybe. Let's try and click here and select the same color palette. I do not need any text at this moment, but as you can see, the elements have changed to fit the color scheme that we have, the ones that can be changed, because for example, this one doesn't have a color control. And I'm just going to play around with it a little bit. Let me duplicate it and remove some of these things. I'm going to put this watercolor here. I like this kind of blue. I think it's cute. I'm going to overlay this. Let's delete them from here. Let's take our corner, adjust it to the other side. Maybe send it to back. I'm basically creating a mishmash of random things. Ooh, I like this shape a lot. I think maybe I want some other wave lines or something. Yeah, I want something thinner and a bit more aesthetic, like with different widths, I guess. And let's grab this. Could be good. Stretch it like that. And yeah, that blue thing doesn't work for me here. Let's go with the layers and delete the blue thing. No, move this shape. Now from every image source, I can create pretty much an unlimited amount of graphics. It's really easy, especially when you're using Wrapper. Really easy. Let's move this here. I feel like it goes well with the general colors around here. Maybe I need to change this one a little bit. Okay. And we're going to download this image, which will be the image I'm going to make patterns for. Actually, it looks like kind of like a very nice bohemian style painting. And now I'm going to go to Wrapper and upload image. As you can see, it already opened up some kind of tiling. It usually starts with the octagon, and I can play around with it, moving it around. Now, I don't export everything I like immediately because I like to have my workflow uninterrupted by the exporting process. So if I like this one and I think, maybe I'm going to want to export this, all I have to do is click on the plus and it's going to save this with the settings of it. We have a lot of settings here that we can use for our projects. I'm going to touch up on those in the second method that we're going to use. But I really like this one. Actually, I kind of want to stop everything I'm doing right now and just use this one, but it's really pretty. And the reason why I like it is this combination. Let me just show you the image again of this part where you have the watercolor touching the lines and touching a different kind of solid color. I feel like it really creates this gorgeous looking effect. Let's move it around a little bit. We also have something a little bit more basic. We can also make things a bit smaller, and in this case it will just be a duotone, like two colors, something like this. I can just look at this forever. Let me change let me change the tiling. Let's go with Persian Star. This one is cute. And I'm mostly thinking about the big ticket items. I'm thinking about like people who might want this as a duvet cover or a shower curtain or even for pillows because it does sort of create this look into the room. It completes the room when it comes to color. And for a lot of people who think, why would someone buy, something so expensive? With t-shirts, I kind of agree with you. The t-shirt needs to be really well, or really something specific that they want. But when it comes to home decor items, some people just need a specific color palette to fit their room. Let's go with Diamond Penrose. Let's send this to back, make it bigger. Okay. I don't think I'm liking it that much. Equatortan is pretty cool. High five. I use this one also quite a lot. It kind of creates this like aesthetic abstract flowers. I kind of like this one. But as I mentioned, we have another option for exporting and another source image that I want to show you. So I'm going to carry on with pretty much the first thing that I saw that really caught my eye, which is this one. And in this case, the first method of exporting is a tile, because Redbubble has the option to multiply tiles or to tile things and repeat them on top of products. I'm going to go over to export, and here I'm going to click either here or here on tile. This is basically the tile that creates the entire pattern. And I can just download a tile. That means that my download size is not going to be that big, the photo is not going to be that heavy, and it's basically going to download with 4498 pixels by 44 and 98 pixels, or 1:1 ratio. Not all of the tiles are 1:1 ratio, as you can see when I use, for example, the Persian star tiling effect, and that will be the export in this case. But let's go ahead with this one. And I don't think I need to download it in PNG. JPEG is just fine. Or you can custom the size of the tile you want. For example, 4000 by 4000 pixels. It doesn't change the design unless you change the ratio. 4000 by 4000 pixels and 300 dpi as a JPEG. And let's export this. For the sake of this, I'm just going to call this Redbubble Test 1. But when you're working on this for projects, I really recommend naming it accordingly. Now I'm going to head on over to Redbubble and upload new work and upload our tile. And I'm just going to copy this for the description. I just want to show you what it does. So I'm not going to make this available on the clothes, like on the t-shirts. It will look ridiculous. Also on the hat. But here's where we get to the fun part. Chiffon top. Ta-da! Let's head on over with graphic dress. All I have to do is make the file smaller and click on the regular grid, and it will create my products. You can make them big or small. In this case, you can make them rather big, and it will create some kind of an asymmetric look to it rather than a pattern. I kind of like my patterns when they're all stretched out. I don't think I'm going to put it as a sticker or a magnet. I don't think anybody would want it as a sticker or a magnet. And I don't want to just create something for the sake of activating it. I don't feel like this does anything. Desmond would be gorgeous. Let me just center it on like the center of a star. This is really cute. The pillow actually looks good, but let's pattern it just for the heck of it. Like that, maybe. The prints, cards, and postcards, I would deactivate here the cards and the postcards because they're not going to work well. It's just going to be an ugly square in the middle of the card. I don't know if people will want to buy this as a print, but if they do, well, good for them. I am going to show you in the next step of what I do, how I create something that will look interesting as a print, that is kind of like a broken pattern that opens up on its own, and then also how to create the right size for the cards and postcards. This one looks really cool. Now, if I would have done the same thing in like blue colors, it might have looked better when it comes to shower curtains, for example, because a lot of the people who go with some kind of nautical theme in their bathroom, they only just need some kind of blue and green. It's not always just, patterns of fish. Mug. I'm just gonna quickly wrap this up. The puzzle, I think, will be looking much better in the second technique I'm going to show you, but I'm just going to activate it anyway because as a puzzle head, I can tell you that a lot of people get a puzzle just because it's insanely difficult. And patterns on puzzles are a niche of their own. Like they're a super difficult item for puzzle heads, and a lot of people who are really into puzzles are looking for these kind of patterns. just because they know it's going to be extremely difficult and it's going to be like a challenge for them. Don't like leggings. No. And let's select a tote bag as the featured image. Actually, I want to select the shower curtain. Yeah. And let's have a look. I like the dress, very bohemian. Very, very boho. Also, the coasters came out looking nice. The tote bag looks really cool. I'm very pleased. However, I want to show you something even cooler that you can do with Repr. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a completely different source image. I'm also going to create some interesting effects on the image to make it look fitting for a piece of wall art. And I'm going to export it in the full size to cover all Redbubble products. So I won't be using the tiling effect at all and cropping it or exporting it to the size that fits postcards and greeting cards. So what I'm going to do is I actually want to upload one of my stainless glass. Most of these were made with some kind of AI help. Some of them were made like enhanced with made the idea with AI and then with Procreate. But I have this beautiful collection of stained glass, which by the way is currently on maytribe.com for purchase. So all of these are here if you want to use them. And I'm also thinking, by the way, of to make a tutorial just about creating stainless glass with some kind of AI or the concept of it. Please let me know in the comments down below if you would like to see that. I'm going to head on over to Pattern, Surface, and change my image to upload. By the way, if you like this video so far or found this content useful, please hit the like button down below because every time you do that, believe it or not, it really does help my channel, and subscribe to my channel for more cool tutorials about print on demand, marketing, and design. Back to the screen. And also, let's go with all of these roses. And let's go with one of the owls. I love the owls. As you can see, it's a totally different world. Whenever we have a pattern, because stained glass is basically a pattern in some way, whenever we have something like that that is a bit more complicated, the results become that much better. Let's go with something like cross brick. And here I want to show you the effects section. So you can adjust the colors here to make them brighter or darker if you want, to make things with a bit more contrast, or to saturate them a little bit more. You can create the whole thing in black and white, which works quite well, and I think better than what people think, because a lot of times people search for these big ticket items like shower curtain and duvet cover. A lot of times they're searching for black and white because it fits their design much better than anything else. We have the duotone option, which allows you to basically create two different colors for this piece and also switch them between one another, and the amount that they are overlaying on top of your existing design. We have the tile border. I switched to a different tiling effect to the pyramid, which basically creates each of the pyramids areas basically gets its own like border, which can also be cute in some cases if you just want to create these like little dots, something like that. And this can be black or a color from the actual scheme, like this, for example. And we have a surface border that adds a border to the sides. I was mostly using it for coloring pages. We can Vignette or Vignette, I never know how to say that word, but I call it the Instagram effect on the image, which could actually work also good for wall art. So I'm going to think about that. We can gradient the entire thing or create some kind of halftone that overlays on it. But what I really love is the metamorphosis effect, because it basically breaks the design from right to left or from up to down. And you can mirror this on both sides. So I'm going to play with the metamorphosis effect on this one, maybe with a different pattern, or maybe even with one of the other images. I would say the keywords for most of these would be trippy. The metamorphosis effect is definitely something that creates that trip effect that I really like. And it creates these really, really interesting and rich patterns. They're not going to be seamless, but they are going to be big enough, so we're not going to mind. Let's go check out just the facade. The facade is interesting. Let's go up to the all blue. Oh, this is weird. I'm loving this. I love the weirdness, and the randomness of this. I'm going to save this one. Let's go with this rose. The one thing I have to warn you about Repper is that it's extremely, extremely addictive. You have to remind yourself, like, set a time. This is when I'm working on it, and now I'm going to actually do something else. Otherwise, you're just down for hours. But one of the best things about it, there is no maximum exports per month with your membership, and everything you create is basically yours by copyright. So it is pretty cool. Let's look at this section. See, I selected just this like little small thing, and already I have all of this. Let's zoom in a little bit. Now, okay, I need to make a product. Okay, that's the topic. I like this. I like the colors that we have here. I'm just thinking maybe to use the Persian star or the bloom instead of the honeycomb or any of the other ones. So I'm just waving on them, like just passing through them. Arabesque looks good. This is actually kind of cute. Huh. Oh, you can also rotate it to an angle. This actually would be a really nice puzzle. This will be an extremely trippy puzzle to make. Let me save that. I like how it opens up on the blue and the sides like this. This is what I'm going to go with. So exporting custom size of 10,000 by 10,000 pixels. Now it's going to tell me that I can't really do that with 300 dpi because I wanted to repeat my pattern 4 times. And based on the image source, that means the dpi will only be able to be 201. But all I have to do is just increase the number of repeats until my warning goes away, which is this, and this can be my export file. I can also just rearrange it a little bit if I want to. I did like it on an angle, so I'm good. And let's export this. When it's above 5,000 pixels, you cannot export this as a JPEG, only as a PNG. Trippy blue pattern for Redbubble. And this time the export might take a second, a minute longer, depending on the speed of your internet, because this is a much larger size file than the tile option. If I have to look at this in my downloads right now, our tile of 4,000 by 4,000 pixels is 2 mega, and this pattern is 45. Let's check that 45 is good for Redbubble, if they'll accept it. With a lot of print-on-demand providers, you can't upload anything that is bigger than 20 or weighs more, basically, than 20 mega. And in that case, I would just change it to a JPEG, save the photo as a JPEG again on my computer, which will reduce the weight of the photo. Again, not activating this on the close. However, as you can see here, I don't need to use the tiling effect. I can even make this a much bigger, and this would be the chiffon top. I do not need to use the tiling effect to anything. I think I'm just going to focus it on the blue when it comes to the clothing items with hints of the brown in the sides. I don't like it on stickers and magnets. No, not at all. This mat, I can expand it a bit more. Obviously, even with a pillow. And now comes the part of the prints, the cards, and the posters. And for that, for the cards and the posters, the size is 1300 by 900 or 900 by 1300. Multiply it a few times to make sure that you can create big size of wall art because it also goes to the wall art. And usually the file that I like to use, the file size is 7800 by 54. And this will be a horizontally aligned postcard or print. Let's turn it the other way around. And I can also move this here and also change this in case I want to. No, I do like this angle. Let's see, export. And I can see here if I can repeat the pattern a little bit less, just to make sure that it fits and it's in good resolution. And I'm going to export this. I'm going to head on over back to Redbubble, go to my prints, cards, and posters, and replace the image. Now, if you've been working with Society 6, then it's best to upload all the sizes from the beginning. With Redbubble, it's not a thing. You upload one size, and then you continuously work on it, and you can change per item. This is how it's going to look on a greeting card or a postcard. Whether it's pretty right now or not, this is the method to do it. I personally think it would be much pretty if I did it with the other type of art that we had. So for example, this one. And I would have metamorphosed this it like this. This would have been a really interesting wall art print. Like, this is something that I can definitely see fits my home decor, by the way. Let's go with the shower curtains. I can even make this bigger here. And this will be a really interesting shower curtain to have. I don't think I'm gonna make all of them. I just wanted you to get the point of it. But even again, blankets, it fits all the sizes of all the products. Jigsaw puzzles. This would be an insanely trippy puzzle to make. I'm loving it. It fits the leggings, the socks, the backpacks, the duffel bags, all of the sizes. I do have a stained glass thing. Let's go with tote bag. No. And yes. And welcome to the products. The dress looks amazing. Phone cases are also kind of cute. Kind of remind me of water lilies, or the water lilies that frogs sit on, but in blue. And the posters are in good quality. And if you look at the postcard, it's the full size. Again, this might not be the most best looking, I guess, for a postcard. You can also edit it with adding text on it after, or create a different type of pattern for the postcards and the posters. I'm also thinking when it comes to something like Christmas, you can play around with the different colors. For example, I'm going to change the metamorphosis effect down. And here I can create patterns. Let's go back to surface with nothing here. And here I can create patterns that are a bit more in the vibe of Christmas and in the colors of Christmas, like this kind of abstract feel to it, or even do something like the most basic thing with Canva. Let's download this one. And this will create patterns in Christmas colors. Oh, this one is pretty. This one is so pretty. It will make for a much better Christmas themed product. There's so much more that I can do with Repr. I can really go on for hours, and please let me know if you would like me to make more Repr tutorials. For example, how to use Repr to create paper packs or anything like that, or if you want me to make a tutorial about how to create stained glass designs using AI, or just how to use them on different products. That said, we're going to get back to me and summarize this video. We also have a discount for community members for Repr app, and a lot more videos that I've done on Repr that you might find interesting. So let's get back to me. Well, that was fun, and mostly, I think, painless. I remember seeing someone commenting one time that Repr makes them feel like they can create everything, and there is no AI involved. I mean, this is all pure math, and the more you use the software, the more you get the hang of it, the more you realize, hey, I know how to create the source image to make it look good. And yeah, there is a learning curve, but this platform is insanely amazing. And there are two things that I want to say about Repr, or about creating patterns with Repr, before we finish this video. The first is that everything you create on Repr is yours. I mean, you have the full copyrights for it, which is a huge thing to have in today's world. Of course, if you take a photo of Mickey Mouse and you create a pattern that shows Mickey Mouse multiple times, you don't have the copyrights for it because it's trademarked by Disney. But if you create a specific pattern, you have copyrights for it, and that is your own pattern. It belongs to you. You can do whatever you want with it. That means that you can sell it on Redbubble or sell it as a digital pack for someone else to use for commercial purposes. You have the full rights to use this pattern, and the rights don't expire with your membership, kind of like with Creative Fabrica. Everything you created while under the Repper membership is yours forever, as long as the source file was something that you were allowed to use as well. The second thing that I would like to say is that I've actually created a sort of like a beginner's freebie Repper pack. So you can play along with some of these because I created things that are very different from each other in style and color, and that could give you a little bit of that initial experience when it comes to how to use Repper to get patterns you really like. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, this pattern app really looks cool for Society 6, you're right. A lot of people do use it for Society 6, and it can create really large items. However, Society 6 sizes are very different from Redbubble's. Also, the uploader is different and they don't have the tiling option, which is why I made a full video that is just about using Repper for Society 6 with the 3 sizes that you're going to need in order to sell on Society 6 products that you made using Repper, and I will leave a link to that somewhere on the screen here. But with that being said, that was it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something new. And as usual, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!